Hi, everyone. Welcome to lesson 3. So we just got done with our first quiz on scientific notation and zero and negative exponents, and we're going to move on to a new property of exponents today. So it's going to jump right in here. So we've got 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 5th. Now I'm going to rewrite that. I wouldn't recommend doing this for like these problems, but I'm showing you what's happening here. So if you look at that, it looks like there's 3 to the 4th there on the left and 3 to the 5th there on the right, but between them is a multiplication. Okay, but if you look at all the 3's, there's a multiplication between each one. So basically what this is 9 3's multiplied together. So another way of writing this is 3 to the 9th. So rather than doing all of that, there's a little shortcut. You may have caught it already. 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 5th. What you can do is you can add the exponents and get 3 to the 9th. And that's the first property. All right, so if I scroll down here to the next part, get rid of that stuff. The property that we're using is right here. A to the m times a to the n equals a to the m plus n. So basically all it's saying is you can add the exponents. But to do this, there are a couple things that have to happen. The bases must be the same. If it was a to the m times b to the n, you couldn't add the exponents there. All right. And the operation between the two expressions must be multiplication. Let's put multiply. Okay. So those two have to be in place to use this property. So here's some problems, lots of problems, right? 12 problems here. So h to the 5th times h to the 2nd. Basic problem here. We have the same base. We can add the exponents. 5 plus 2 is 7. Now, negative exponents are still here. Okay, so there are a couple ways of doing this. But for right now, we have the same base of 2. So 2 times 2. Now, a lot of people are going to change that to 4. Notice that the base never changes. So on number 1 there, h to the 5th times h to the 2nd, h stayed at h. Same thing with the number, 2 times 2. Yes, we are doing 2 times 2, but the base doesn't change. So it's going to stay 2, and what changes is the exponent. 7 plus negative 3, or 7 minus 3 is 4. Now, when I have 2 to the 4th power, I can actually go a little bit further with that. 2 to the 4th power is 16. Right, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Number 3, b to the 4th, c to the 7th. A lot of people are going to write b to the 11th. Problem is, those bases are not the same. I can't do anything with this one, so the final answer on this one is b to the 4th, c to the 7th. Stays just like that. Number 4, I've got 3 m's. All I got to do here is just add up all the exponents. So it's going to be m. Negative 9 plus 5 is negative 4. Plus negative 2 is negative 6. Now, I can't finish my problem with a negative exponent. This goes back to what we did in the lesson 2. M is not happy on top. It needs to go to the bottom. So 1 over m to the 6th is my final answer here. All right, number 5, 6 to the 8th and 6 to the negative 8th. 8 plus negative 8 is 0. So 6 to the 0 is just 1. P to the 8th plus p to the 3rd. A lot of people think p to the 11th. It is not. This is plus. I can't put these together. P to the 8th plus p to the 3rd. I can't do anything with this. All right, number 7 starts to get a little bit confusing here. So what I have to do, 2 and 3 are bases, but I can multiply those together. They're also coefficients. So 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. The ends I can put together, right? N to the 5th and n to the negative 2nd. That'd be 5 plus negative 2, which is 3. And there's my answer, 6 n to the 3rd. All right, number 8. There are 3 coefficients here. 6 times 3 times 2. So 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 2 is 36. I can multiply all those together. So what I did was just 6 times 3 times 2. And then y to the third, y to the fourth, and then y. The exponent on that last y is a 1. You cannot forget that. So 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So it's y to the 8th. Number 9, c to the fourth, d to the third, c to the negative 8th. I can put these two together because they both have a base of c. So c, 4 and negative 8 makes negative 4. And then d to the third. I can't put that one with it. C is not happy on top, so it needs to go to the bottom. Becomes c to the fourth. And d is happy on top, so it stays on top and stays d to the third. All right, number 10 is the one that a lot of people will struggle with. What I will see people do on this one is they will do, since the m's you can put together, they'll say 6m to the 7th times 7p to the 5th. And that is not quite done. A lot of people think you cannot put the 7 with the other two, but in fact you can. And let me show you why. This one, I'm not going to recommend that you do this, but I wanted to show you why you're allowed to put the 7 with the 2 and the 3, even though it's attached to the p. So 2m to the third is 2 times m times m times m, right? Times, we're just multiplying these, 7 times, and then there's 5 p's. We'll jump down here, and then times 3 times m times m times m times m. Okay, literally just multiplying everything together. And with multiplication, you can reorder however you want. So I can put 2, 3, and 7 all together at the front, which makes 42. I can only put my m's together with my m's, and there's 7 m's, and there's 5 p's. So that's your final answer. You can put the coefficients together. So 2, 7, and 3 can go together. Number 11 is a very similar problem. X, again, x has an exponent of 1. So I can do 5 times 2 times 3. So that's 30. And then I can only put the x to the 1 with x to the 8th. So that's x to the 9th. And then y to the 4th just stays y to the 4th. Okay. Last one here on the front. K times k to the negative 3rd. I'm going to go ahead and put those together. That's k to the first. 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. On the bottom, I got n to the negative 7th and n to the 4th. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. Notice how I put those together first, and now I'm going to move them and make things happy. Okay. K is not happy on top. Needs to go to the bottom. So it's k squared on the bottom. N is not happy on the bottom. It needs to go to the top and becomes n to the 3rd. And there's your final answer. I know that was a lot, 12 problems there, but hopefully that was enough to get you moving in the right direction. Final part of this video is scientific notation. So we've done multiplying with scientific notation already, but now it's a little bit different. The one that we did in the last lesson was something like this. It's like 12 times 4.1 times 10 to the 5th or something like that. Okay, and then we did 12 times 4.1 and then had, right? We did that. Now it's a little bit different. We've got two big numbers being multiplied together. So when we do this, we want to multiply the a values. The a values in this case are 2.5 and 6. Now there's 2, 10 to the, and there's an exponent. We want to add those exponents. Okay, so what you're doing is 2.5 times 6. So that's 15 times 10. And then what you're doing is you're doing 10 to the 8th times 10 to the 3rd. Since those are the base of the same, just like what we did on the first page, on the front page, 8 plus 3 gives me 11. Now, just like when we did this earlier, 15 needs to be, the decimal needs to be here. So it needs to be 1.5 times 10. I made 15 smaller. So I need to make the exponent bigger by 1. There you go. Number 2, the second one there, multiply those two. 9 times 7 is 63. Times 10 to the, and then -6 plus 2 is -4. 63, I need to make that 6.3. So I made that smaller. I need to make the exponent bigger. So -4 plus 1 is -3. And that's multiplying in scientific notation. Now, last one here. This is a challenge. Evaluate. And we talked about this very early on in the last lesson. Well, I guess it was very early on, but we talked about it in the last lesson. It's a bad idea to put -4 in for M and 2 in for N right away. You will run into trouble. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. -3 times -4 to the 4th times 2 times 2 to the 3rd times 5 times -4 to the -6th. Good luck. That's going to be awful. Now, before I go any further with how to do this one, I'm just going to let you know that this is beyond what you're going to have to do in the test or quiz. But if you can do this, you're in really good shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify this like I did on the front page. Okay. I'm not going to worry about this M equals -4 and N equals 2 yet. So I'm going to multiply all those numbers. -3 times 2 times 5. That's -30. M to the 4th and M to the -6th. I can put those together, right? And that's going to give me M to the -2nd. 4 plus -6, -2. Okay. And then N to the 3rd just stays there. And that is the simplified version, sort of what we have. Last thing I'm going to do before I plug in numbers is I'm going to make my exponents positive. Exponents. -30 is not an exponent. -30 stays right there. N stays up there, but M goes to the bottom. It becomes M squared. Okay. Much easier to plug stuff in with this than it would be with the beginning problem. So now I'm going to take -30 and put 2 in for N and -4 in for M. Okay, so -30 times 8 divided by 16. Right, so -30 times 8 is -240 divided by 16. I believe it's 15, -15. And it is. So that would be -15. Okay, and that's multiplication properties of exponents number 1.